All right. If I can, right, and they're going to give me 8 million descriptions of why the tile they picked for the bathroom is the most perfect tile, like, I would love in a perfect world to say, hey, Austin, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you sit at the table and fill out some preliminary information for me. I'm going to go walk around like a buyer would, right? Take me about 15 minutes. Unfortunately, showings are pretty quick and you won't be able to give, the play-by-play on the tour. So if you're cool with that, I'm just going to go walk around real fast. Sometimes people are, most of the time they're not. Most of the time they want to show you around. Totally fine. Give me the tour. Give me the nickel tour. Right? Now here's where you got to have that balance of, wow, really this is a great house, and making sure you don't oversell it. Because I don't want to spend so much time going, oh my God, this is the most beautiful bathroom I've ever seen, blah, 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 blah. Why? What is the seller hearing if I'm over the top excited about how great their house is?
Dollar signs.
Money, 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 money. I knew my house was worth $8 million, right? So you got to be careful. Now, if they point something out, right? So I stole this from Nick LaRocca, right? If they're like, oh yeah, these are great, they're great, we had these imported floors or whatever, like Nick will get down and touch them. Oh yeah, give them a little knock. Oh, these are nice, right? Because you want to affirm what they're telling you without going over the top and be like, oh yeah, these are gorgeous, they're beautiful, oh my God, they're amazing. There's a difference between being appreciative and not kissing their butt to where that price skyrockets through the roof, right? When we get back to the table, right? I've taken some notes, whatever. I'm walking around, I'm looking at it, and I'm gonna say, look, like I want to kind of go a little quick, right? And you gotta balance that. Because I want to look at it like a buyer. I don't want to get too in depth. I want to kind of see what they're gonna see. Get back to the table. I'm gonna have them have a seat. I would rather not be across the table from them. That's kind of a confrontational position. I'd rather sit at an angle if I can, right? I don't want you to be what I call a triple S, a same side sitter. Like, don't sit right next to them where you got to look sideways to talk to them. But if they're at the head of the table and you're at the first chair, or vice versa, that's a good back and forth. We're still in each other's space and we're not confrontational. Okay. So I'm going to give them one of these presentations and I'm going to say, hey, today we're going to go through kind of the timeline of what this looks like. We're going to talk a little bit about your custom marketing plan, and then we're going to talk about representing you on your home. Is that fair? Awesome. I love to use the phrase, the tie down, is that fair? Because it's very rare that someone could say, no, that's not fair at all. Like, you're getting a yes response by asking, is that fair? Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. So as we're going through this, right, I'm going to use Austin, right? As we're going through this, Austin, there's a couple things that are gonna happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna choose to work with me, which would be awesome, right? Let's be awesome. Let's be honest. It'll be awesome. Or you're gonna choose to not work with me. That would not be awesome. Hey guys, hold on 10 seconds because that's the market center calling. Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, just checking, making sure. Oh, so while doing that, Austin, I'm trying to get I'm the buyer side of the transaction for another listing agent, and she sent me the landing page, and I'm trying to get that landing page on my Facebook. How do I do that?
I created my own landing pages.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Is that, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no,
We'll,
Steve,
we'll
you're
talk
good.
later.
I was just going to say on your question, we'll dive into that here
Oh,
at a later time.
You
Sorry about
heard
that, guys.
that.
So back into what I was saying, that was the Market Center call, and I had to grab that one. So what I was saying is, awesome, you work with me, awesome. If you choose not to work with me, let's be honest, that wouldn't be awesome, right? And the third thing is, we get done, and I may choose to not work with you. And can I tell you why that might happen?
Wow.
Wow.
Right? Well, I may choose to not work with you because I may not think that we're a good fit. I may not be able to provide value to you. Maybe we can't come together on what we think the value of the home is. And it would be a disservice for me to take this listing because I'm not going to be able to provide enough value to you. I'm going to be totally honest right up front, right? So
Mhm.
what
I
does
didn't
that
see that
do?
coming.
What does that do to that client? Right? Well, A, it lets them know that like I'm a straight shooter, I'm upfront. And
Mhm.
Austin, do you want to get to the end of this and then me choose not to work with you?
That's what you're
No.
doing.
No, you don't want to lose. You're like, oh, you're going to take my listing, right? So it puts in the mindset of, well, I don't want him to choose to not work with me. Like, why would he reject me? Okay. So now I'm past that conversation, and I would say, all right, so let me ask this question, Austin. Are you more of a bullet point kind of guy, or are you more of a visual kind of guy?
Visual.
Awesome. I am going to kind of go through this, which is bullet points. What I want you to do is I want you to look at page 3. So this is my seller's roadmap kind of thing, right? So for us, we're starting at your meeting with a real estate professional, like high five, right? That's the first step for you, right? As we go through this, I'm gonna walk him through this. I'm either gonna walk him through this visual and have this bullet point near me, so that way I can stay on track for the other things that I want to talk about. But if it is, if he's a visual guy, I don't want to go through and do all of the, I don't want to do all of the bullet point stuff if he needs a visual, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna walk him through this. Be like, great. So here's our first step. You're meeting with a professional. Like, this is our initial meeting. High five. You're already on the road to getting your house sold. All right. Second one, and the biggest thing that most of the time we need to get through is what the price is going to be. So besides price, and this is where I'm going to bring this question in, besides price, is there any other reason that you have chosen not to work with a real estate agent and would prevent you from signing and working with me today? If the answer is yes, I'm gonna take care of those objections, and we're gonna go talk about it. Right? This presentation is not for you to go page 1 to page 13. This is a map that you can start having objection handling around based on your scripts. Okay? So if he wants to talk about marketing, I'll be like, great, let's talk about marketing. Right? Let's solve that because price is our biggest decision. But if these other things are questions, let's take care of them now. Let's talk about them. Okay? And we're gonna, I promise you, before we leave, we're gonna have this price around strategic pricing of your property. Okay. Once we figure out price and we go through all this stuff, now it's time to prepare your home for showings. As you go through this packet that I'm going to leave with you, Austin, later on, and it's the next page. These are some things to keep in mind about getting your home ready, right? I'm not going to go through this with you right now, Mr. Austin. I'm going to leave this for you. But what I want you to keep in mind is before I leave, I want to go outside and show you from step 1, from the curb, what's the first impression. And then we can walk through the house if you want to, and we can just see what might be some suggestions that I would give for getting your home completely ready to sell. And then the rest of this can just be kind of a to-do list when we're done, right? So once we get through, we get your house ready to sell. We're going to list it. Let's talk about what that means, right? I get all the information I need. I put it into our multiple listing service. We get it out on all of our 500 websites. We get it to all of our local brokerages. So all of the local agents are going to know your home is for sale. We're going to start figuring out what that means for showings. So when we have a showing, you're going to need to be able to leave the property for probably about an hour, lock up the dog, whatever, to be able to let the people walk through. Well, if their objection is, well, I don't want to leave the house, let me tell you why that's a bad idea, Austin, right? No one's going to buy your house if you're there sitting in your chair staring at them, right? It's not going to happen. So we have that conversation, right? So anything else I want to talk about listing, right? We can go into marketing, we can go into whatever. Then we get into offers and negotiations. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, Austin, of what that might look like, I'm going to start getting offers from agents once they've seen your property. We may get one offer, we may get multiple offers. So I don't want to go too in depth because it can get a little complicated. But let's say we get an offer. There's going to be a timeline that we need to get back to these people with our answer, right? So I'm going to need to be able to get a hold of you. So if I call you, I'm going to send you a text message saying, hey, I'm expecting an offer to come in. When I call, we're going to have to coordinate so I can get a hold of you. Okay. What we'll do is we'll talk about that offer, right? Whether they offer, full price or different asking price, they're probably going to ask for some closing costs. That just seems to be the norm right now with buyers. Let's talk about what that means. Closing costs are usually around 3% of the sales price. So your house is $100,000 for easy math. That means they're going to ask for around $3,000 to pay towards their closing cost. What objection are you going to get, especially from high D personality types, when I tell them that they're going to have to pay something for the buyer? What's an objection you're going to get from a seller?
That they don't want to pay it.
I ain't paying jack squat for that buyer to buy my house, right? I ain't paying nothing. So now you got to have that conversation and say, hey, look, I totally understand where you're coming from. Here's what the market is happening. It's becoming very, very, very frequent that the seller is paying some closing costs. We can reject it, but that may be the thing. So when buyers are coming, a lot of the time when we look at it, I'll be able to get an idea from that paperwork of, it sounds like this buyer doesn't have a whole lot of liquid cash, so they need the closing costs. So now I can go and negotiate the sales price. Maybe they only wanted to pay $95,000 for your house, but we go back to them and say, fine, we'll pay that $3,000 in closing, but we're going to have $98,000 as the sales price. 6 of one, half a dozen of another, right?
Right.
We help
Right.
the buyer be able to buy your house. And this is where you get back to motivation. And your goal, Austin, is to sell the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to sell the house for the most money possible in the shortest amount of time with the least hassle. This is where I make my chops. This is where you turn me loose and let me do my negotiating thing. Okay? Once we're under contract, I stay supervising this thing the whole time, right? I'm making sure the buyer's lender is doing what the buyer's lender is supposed to be doing. We're going to have an inspection process. So they're going to come in, they're going to tear the house apart, right? Their job is to try to find everything that's wrong with it. So part of what I want to do for you beforehand is let's walk through. Let me give you a few things to point out. Let's change that broken outlet cover that I saw in the living room, because that 39-cent cover is going to be a $500 thing on their inspection response. So let me save you some money on the front end and eliminate what we can on the front end. Okay. Then we get to appraisal. We have nothing to do with the appraisal. The buyer has nothing to do with appraisal. The lender orders the appraisal. They pick whoever's next on the list. They don't get to choose. That person comes out, gives their opinion of price. And then, you know, most of the time it's going to be for the purchase price or more. So we don't have to worry about it. The only time something comes up with an appraisal where there's an issue is if it appraised for less than our asking price. And then we got some other things that, again, you turn me loose on my negotiating. We're hoping not have to cross that issue. And then final, any details that we've got to go through, any other due diligence periods. And then obviously we go to closing. That's where we get to sign the paperwork. You pass over ownership of your house to the new people, and you get a nice big fat check and everybody's happy. Any questions on this process, Mr. Austin?
Do you find like establish the price while you're sitting there with them?
So this is where upside down. So this is where some of this goes a little bit further into the steps, right? So as
Mhm.
I like to do it from this because I'm a bullet point guy, but this is where I'm going to have this sitting in front of me, or I'm going to get this script in my head where I can hit all of these different things as I'm going through this thing with them, right? Now, to answer your specific question, in order to establish that price, you need to be like top notch at your CMA. Okay. So one of our top teams in all of Keller Williams, his name is Ben Kenny. Ben Kenny will do the CMA sitting in front of the client in real time. He'll go, okay, give me 10 minutes. Let's pull this up. Doodle-doo, 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 puts all his stuff in, and he does it right in front of them and says, here's what my recommendation is for your price. Most of us are not Ben Kenny confident yet. Okay.
No,
including
far
this
from
guy,
it.
right?
Who is Ben Kenny?
Have to take that
Ben-
back to the office.
Yeah, Ben Kenny's a superstar. He's a rock star. So you can
Oh
watch
my
some of his
gosh.
videos, right? So I wouldn't recommend. Melnisha said CMA is only a recommendation, right? So CMA is our competitive market analysis. This is an idea of it's the realtor version of an appraisal. This is what you feel the market is going to pay. This is why you practice this. The more you do it, the more confident you're going to be at your numbers. What I tell somebody is to say, Austin, I just now have been able to get into your home and see it. So now I can compare apples to apples versus these other homes that you're going to be in competition with and the ones that have sold recently. So in order to be fair to you, I could guess at a number, but I don't like to guess. I don't get paid to guess. I get paid to be right. So what I would like to do is I would like to go back to my office and I would like to solidify the good CMA, right? What our competitive market analysis number is going to be, and make sure that we can come to an agreement of that's what your home is going to be able to be marketed at. Okay. Now, I can get a general idea if I've done my pre-homework for other homes around that area. I can have a pretty darn good idea of what it's going to be before I get in the house. And if I've done a good CMA before I got there, then I can be with fairly good confidence that your house is going to sell in this range, unless theirs is so much different than the other ones I looked at, right? That's a little bit higher level confidence because you gotta be on point with your CMA first, and then when you walk in, go, yeah, I'm good with that number. Yeah, okay, no problem. So then I can do it, right? So I'm going to give you a tidbit that's not in here, right? Because the rest of this is just going through talking about our marketing, how people find a buyer, right? Our Y4C2Ts that needs to be updated, right? And then this is a promise that the never ending referral people use, right? If you like it, use it. If you don't. The last couple pages, Mr. Austin, are for you. So these are some reminders prior to showing, like put all your medicine away, put your checkbooks away, lock up any guns and ammo, right? If you want to keep stuff, take down your your smart thermostat and put an old regular one up, because that's attached to the house. And if they buy your house, they're gonna get to keep that. So if you love your Nest thermostat, take it down. If grandma gave you the chandelier over the dining room table here and you want to keep it, take it down and put a regular light up. Because when they come to see it, they may fall in love with the house because of the chandelier. And even though we put in the paperwork that the chandelier isn't part of the sale, that may be the thing that makes them want to buy this house, and then we're on the wrong foot from the start. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to talk about in this packet before I do the other thing with pricing is the last thing I need from you, Mr. Austin, is I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. The very last page here is some stuff that I'm going to need prior to being able to list your property. I make all of my listings live on Thursday. And why do I do that? Because Wednesday and Thursday are the highest days that people are looking for listings so they can go show people on the weekend. So I'm going to need this in enough time to be able to get your stuff in so I can have it ready for Thursday. So today is the 2nd, Tuesday the 2nd. If I could have this, I'm not going to get it for this Thursday. We got to get pictures done, all that good stuff. I'm already talking, right? Like we're in this, right? We're already agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to make this live next Thursday. So I'm going to need all this stuff by Sunday at the latest. Do you think that you'd be able to go through and check on some of these things for me, right? Any previous closing documents, any home insurance that you have, any HOA stuff. Do you think you could be able to pull this stuff together for me by the weekend?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. That means we can be live next Thursday. Okay. So now, like, Austin's kind of vested with me. He's ready to go. Okay. So I want to show you the way, and I did this with Steve in the office the other day, but I'm going to show you how I do the pricing. So let's say we're just going to use $100,000 for the house, right? So
All
So I'm going to draw this on a piece of paper for him. And then I'm going to put a box around it. Right? So based on my CMA, right? Austin, here's what I know based on the market. And I'm going to show him any data that he needs to be able to see this. So here's what I know, Austin. Your home is going to sell based on market data with stuff that's active, stuff I looked at that was pending, continue to show, things that were expired, withdrawn, and sold in the last 6 months. This is what I've been able to find. The market is going to value your home somewhere between $92,000 to $100,000. That's what the list price is going to be around. So here's what we've got. If we list it at $100,000, you're going to be at the very, very top of what the market's willing to pay right now. And what I can show you on this data, right? And I'm going to show them my CMA. The average days on market up here is like 94 days. I'm making a number up. Do you want your property to be on the market for 3 months? Okay.
Oh, still got to pay mortgage.
Okay, right. So holding costs, that's an issue. The bottom one, the lowest number, you're going to get a ton of interest in it. We may get into a bidding war. People may decide to pay a little bit more than that, but it's going to go like 2-3 days. I expect we're going to have an offer. Like it's going to rock and roll because it's a really good price. The middle is that kind of that 60% sweet spot. I expect someone to be in this. This is where I expect us to get the most activity. This is where I expect most of the people to be looking value-wise. And this is where I expect your days on market to be somewhere in the 20 to 30 days based on the market reports that I'm looking at. So based on that information, which of these 3 prices would you like me to advertise and market your property at?
B.
You want to do B?
Yeah, we could do B.
All right. So what just happened? I circled B, right? So I'm going to market it at this, right? What did Austin just do? He listened to what I gave him, and then he did what? He set the what?
Set the bar.
Yeah,
The
and
price.
you set the price. So who set the listing price? Anthony or Austin? Austin did, the seller. The seller told you what they
Oh.
want to do it at,
Right.
right? So then I circle it and go, great, this is the price we're going to list it at. Now, Steve can tell us, right? But why do I draw a box around my pricing? Do you remember, Steve?
You get them thinking about the numbers you want them to think about.
Right?
You put those numbers in a box.
I put them in a box, right? And here's the cheesy part of it. People don't think outside of the box. It's true. I laser focused them in on this. Did you even think about a number outside of those three, Austin? Did it even
No,
come into your head?
I
No.
didn't.
Because you're locked into this. Well, what about 89? No, 92. Like, it's going to work. So I got to be solid on my range. But they're in a box. So now this is what we're going with. So this is the price that we're going to do. 96, 500. Sign here, press hard. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So this
Yes.
is a little bit extra outside of what I was talking about with the listing presentation from this. But that's how I do my pricing. So if you get good at the CMA, which I promise you I'm making my videos and doing all that good stuff. If you get good at the CMAs, you could probably do that right there and say, hey, based on what I have and have it ready, and as long as the property still kind of matches, what you think, then you could go with your CMA that you already have done and not have to worry about going back to the office and doing another one.
Let's say that you're going after expired listings that pretty much already had a CMA done to it. Do you have to do another CMA to?
Sure. Why didn't they sell? Why'd they expire?
Right.
It could have been price.
99 times out of 100, it's price.
Right.
Right? Now, marketing plays a factor, whatever, but those four things I talked to you earlier, right? Location, condition, price, and marketing. I can't change location. I really can't change condition all that much. But I can do price and I can do marketing. Right? So expireds, it's probably they have the wrong price. They're probably asking too much. So now I want to do a full CMA and go, look, what's the price you have in your head? 200,000. Well, if I know that it's worth 140, like I'm done right then.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose not to work with you because we're too far apart. And they're going to go, what do you mean? I've done the market research. I really appreciate that, Austin. However, the market's only willing to pay $140,000 for your home. And I don't want to insult you by coming in and trying to do a song and dance for you. It would
Right.
absolutely be against everything I believe in to take your listing at 200,000 and never sell your house. Well, at that point they go, whoa, come in, come talk to me. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, 200K ain't gonna get it. It's not gonna happen. So if you're stuck on that number, doesn't matter how good I am, I'm never gonna be able to sell your house. Well, tell me what you got. Okay, let's talk. Cool.
So you think that could go either way, Anthony? Or you think they're going to more than likely ask you in?
It doesn't matter either way. Right? Like I have there's no stake in the game for me at that point. I don't care.
Right.
Right. And I told this to you before, and Cody, when we were doing scripts. You're not going to get every client. You don't want every client.
Right.
Like I don't want to deal with Austin if he thinks his house is $60,000 over what it's worth. He's going to be a nightmare.
Pretty much.
There's no shot that I'm going to bring value to you. Like we're going to hate each other. And then you're going to tell everybody how crappy of an agent I am when there was no chance for me to help you.
Right.
I would rather spend my time and energy getting with Cody, who knows that his house is worth 140 and he wants to try to get 150. Well, let's have that conversation.
Right.
Okay. All right, guys, I got to
Yes.
jump off of here. I appreciate you. I will have another training this week. I'll fit another 30 minutes in somewhere. Let's go. Let's get as much info as we can about listings, and I'll start doing those videos. Okay.
Thank you, Anthony.
Steve,
Appreciate you.
All right, guys.
hey, Steve, you can give me a call.
Okay. What was your number?
It's 985 335
Wait. I forgot your name. I had to write it. 985
335
335
4056.
4056.
And I could show you how to do tell you how to do the landing page thing.
Sounds good. Thank you, Austin.
No problem.
All right, guys.
All right.
Bye.